Thank you for purchasing your Glion model SNAPnGO 335. This is the unboxing and assembly video. The first thing you notice when you open your box is this paper, which has your serial number and the website and some very important information. And you can go to this website and get the most updated manual to print off or download for a PDF. Now that we've unboxed it, we can begin assembly. First, we're going to install our foot pedals, and for this step, you will need the following parts. The 2 foot pedals, the 6 bolts with lock washer and standard washer, and the included 10mm end wrench. Now you'll notice on your foot pads, there is a second set of holes that if you want to move the pads to a front location for taller people, that is where you will do this step. And now we'll install. Now, when you start putting the bolts in, make sure you put them in at first by hand to make sure they go in smoothly and they are not cross-threaded. And then once you get them all in, you can tighten them down with the end wrench to make sure they are secure. And once you have them all in, just go through each bolt one more time with the wrench and make sure they're nice and snug. And now the foot pedals are installed. Now we're going to assemble our seat. The first thing we're going to do is attach our base to our seat, and for that you will need the following parts. You'll need the base, the included large Allen wrench, 2 shorter black bolts with Allen head ends, and the 2 longer bolts, each with a lock washer and a standard washer. Now on the seat there are 8 holes on each side, 4 in the front on each side and 4 in the back. Now the further forward the mounting is for taller people, so the seat will be further back. The further back the mounting is, the further back it is for shorter people. Now, when you start doing this, make sure you align your holes, and then you on the front, and then the back holes will align themselves. Now, the longer bolts, remember, go in the front, and the shorter go in the back. Now, once you have them tight, make sure you go through each of them one more time just to make sure they're nice and snug. Now we're going to install the armrests, and for that you will need the following parts: the 2 armrest knobs and the 2 armrests. And you will install it into the square shaft. and then carefully install the bolt until it gets tight. And making sure to go snug so that they don't slide out. Now I'm going to show you the keys. They are zip tied on the down tube right under the computer control. You will cut the zip tie off. Now these keys are not ignition keys. These are the keys that will hold your battery in place so that you can remove it and store it and charge it at home and install it and make sure it is secure. Now we recommend that you keep one of these keys on your SNAPnGO and one in a secure location. Now we're going to install the seat onto the SNAPnGO. For this step, you're going to need two parts. You're going to need the main shaft, which on the shaft you will see there are these two little knobs and these two little notches. The knobs sit right into those notches. And you'll take another bolted knob and tighten it in, making sure that it goes in smoothly, you're not cross-threaded. And you'll get it nice and tight, tighten it down. And then on the bottom of the seat, we have this peg, which sits right inside of this. And you'll install it, and it will snap down, and you're ready to go. Now we're going to install the fabric bag. You will take the hooks, and you're going to carefully go underneath the brake cable and set it on that bar. And then you'll take your Velcro, and you're going to Velcro it to the down shaft. You're ready to go. Now we're going to install the mirror. And for that, you will need the mirror assembly and the small Allen wrench. First thing we're going to do is remove the plastic plug. Now these plugs can be very tight, and you may want to use a flathead screwdriver or perhaps a butter knife to get behind it and just pop it out. Then you're going to insert this part, which is a jam bolt. And what that does is as it expands, it holds itself in place. So you put your Allen wrench into the end and tighten it down. And you want to make sure it gets nice and tight, and your mirror is installed. Now we're going to assemble the shopping cart for your Glion scooter. First, we're going to remove our seat post. Now, on the seat post, you notice two pegs. This peg holds in the Glion scooter to keep the seat from rotating. This smaller peg is what we're going to be using for our basket assembly. We're going to take our basket assembly hook. You see there's a little notch right here. That notch sits right above that peg. And then we're going to line up our other one on the back side on the opposite side so that our bolt holes line up. Our bolts are 5mm Allen wrench bolts, and our nuts are 10mm end wrench bolts. Now we are going to take and put the bolt in the center hole first. This is just to hold it in place to keep it from falling down. And tighten them just a little bit, just so they're finger tight. These are lock nuts, so once they get tight and get onto the threads, they will hold in place. Now we will take our end wrench and our Allen wrench, and starting at the front, tighten just a little bit at a time each of the bolts and nuts. You will notice a small gap in the middle. Make sure that that gap is even at the front, the middle, and the back so that the baskets hang neatly. Also, be careful not to over-tighten the bolts and the nuts because that will potentially bend the bracket and the baskets will not sit evenly. Now we're going to add our brackets to the side baskets. You will notice on your baskets, on one side, there are two added supports. These are going to be the sides that go to the inside of your scooter. First, we will take one of our brackets and one of our backing plates. The backing plate goes on the inside, so I'm just going to set it here to show you a few things. The bracket goes between this brace right here so that there are 4 bolt holes. One goes above it, one goes below it, and on the other side, one goes above it and one goes below it. This bracket does have threaded holes, so there are no nuts that we will be attaching to this. Our bolts are 4mm Allen wrench bolts. So I'm going to hold it right in place and put in the top bolt. Then I will take another one and put that on the top. I recommend doing the top first because once you do, you can slide it down and it sits right above this bracket there. Then we'll take our other 2 and put those in place. You may have to squeeze it just lightly or loosen your top nut or bolt if it does not quite fit. Then you will take an Allen wrench and tighten it down. Don't over tighten it because you can bend the metal. And you will do the exact same installation on your other basket, and now we'll show it on your scooter. Now we're going to install our seat post with the bracket. We are going to lower it onto our Glion SNAPnGO, making sure the bracket with 2 holes is always towards the front. Once you have it in its peg and notch location, you want to make sure you tighten it down so that this will not get in the way of your baskets. Now we will take our basket and slide it on, making sure it goes just past those rubber stops. Slide it into place. Now there's a slight adjustment you may need to do at this time when you'll see that this lower bracket is at the center of the main frame. Sometimes it could be too low or too high. This is the time where you'll just loosen your bolts and just raise or lower it so that it sits approximately center on the frame. Now we'll take our other basket and slide it into place, making sure it does avoid both of these spots. And now we'll go to adding our seat. Making sure the peg sits on the seat post. Now this is a very interesting spot. If you have the armrests on, there is a knob right here that you may get caught on the baskets. So if you are removing your baskets, be careful not to get caught on that knob. If you do not have the side arms, then that's not going to be a problem for you. And now we're going to install our front basket. You'll place the basket arms underneath of the brake line, making sure not to clamp the brake line. It sits right on the top bar, and then it sits right here really nicely, and you're ready to go. The final step in your assembly of your Glion Model 335 is making note of your serial number on the back post right here, and then go to our website and register your product. This concludes our unboxing and assembly video. For your safety, we recommend you watch our operations video and read the manual in its entirety. Thank you very much for purchasing your Glion SNAPnGO Model 335. I'll see you out there.